What's up guys, it's Missy. I am back with another SimCity Build a video. I am playing COM competitively again this week. This week is double points week. That's why the points are double. So, for those of you guys who are not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe and like the video, comment on the video if you have any questions or video requests or anything like that. If you want to join our Facebook page, type in SimCity Build It, Missy Ann YT. That's where all of our video links and production guides, COM guides, all that go. So this week, I'm playing COM competitively. I am a high-level player. If you're a low-level player, the rules are a little bit different. I'd say 90% of my videos on the Contest of Mayors are meant for low-level players because it's more beneficial for them to play the Contest of Mayors competitively, as they don't have all of these kind of expensive, tasks like regionals and things like that. If you have regionals unlocked, you're considered to be a high-level player, so you would follow the high-level COM advice. So let's get started, and I will kind of explain how I'm making my choices and why I'm making them the way I am. So the very first thing is making sure that you are prepared for anything, right? You have to be able to do any task. So as a high-level player, this is so much more complicated, right? Because I have all of my regional maps. I have to make sure that I don't click on those regional HQ shipments too early. Because what will happen is it'll only be open for 24 hours. If I was to get a regional HQ shipment assignment, it would be locked up and I wouldn't be able to do it. I have to make sure that I am in war so that if I get a war assignment, I can do it. I have to make sure that I have keys and keys and cards so that if I get a war card upgrade, I can do it. So there's a lot of things that you have to prepare for. One of the things that you need to prep is your shops and your factories. Now, last week, if you watched the Contest of Mayors walkthrough last week, I prepped electrical because it has the ability to be worth up to 3,000 points and it takes the longest. I went ahead and prepped electrical again this week. Well, this week and last week, it did give me electrical right off the bat. Okay, so that was good. That being said, the very first thing that you do as any level player is a task assessment. This is when you go through each task, you kind of refresh your mind on what you know about it. Hang on a second. Okay. And then you can do the breakdown at the same time. A breakdown is where you label each one, either main, rotatable, or no touch. This just gives you kind of a quick note on the side that says, hey, this one can be worth up to 3,000 points and it's over 2,000 points or higher. So this would be your first obvious choice section. Then you have the section where, okay, this is a task that can open up better tasks if need be, but not right this minute. Now, as a low-level player, you have a lot of no-touch tasks, whereas a high-level player, you don't really have any tasks that are considered no-touch. You know what I mean? Like, there's a few, but like monster or something that's of a low value, there's things that you wouldn't do because you have so many other options. But as a low-level player, you certainly have a lot more no-touch tasks like upgrades and things like that. So the very first thing we need to do is go through our assessment. Okay, so in our streaks, we have a non-premium repair, which means this is good because it's a task you can do easily, and it's not going to, block anything substantial. It's not blocking any of my really good premiums. It's not like, let's say, a 1200 Latin or something, which would be an excellent task to get for me as a high-level player because it can be worth up to 3,600 points. Now, that being said, that repair is going to sit there until we get to the streaks. Now, as a high-level player and a low-level player, you do not want to start the streaks too early. If you do, you end up with this huge point increase at the beginning, and the game just gives you garbage thereafter. So it's really important that you try to hold off on the streaks until about 20 tasks remaining. This allows you to finish all of your streaks when the time comes, but you don't have this huge decrease in assignment points because you're waiting to do that boost. That is essential, okay? So the very first task here is a main task, and that would be the war upgrade. Now on a normal week, this is worth 3,000 points. So this would be the first obvious choice, right? Well, yes, but let's continue on with our task assessment here. We have a 5,900 point electrical, which I do have prepped and ready for pickup, which would be my second obvious choice, saying nothing better comes in after the war card upgrade. Then we have a 4,000 point VU assignment. That being said, that is considered a main task because it's worth 2,000 points and can be worth up to 3,000 points. Well, in this case, you know, you get it, 6,000 points. It's double this week. We have a premium regional currency task. This is also this is a rotatable option. It's not quite a main task because it doesn't reach that 2,000 points, and you want to look at what reaches about 2,000 points because overall you're aiming for a 2K average, right? That's like bottom line you should aim for. So anything that falls below that 2,000 points, which in this case it would be 4,000, would be considered something that you would rotate in to bring in better main tasks, right? So essentially what we're doing here is we're trying to only work our main tasks at all times, taking into consideration that the rotatable tasks below could or have the potential to be main tasks. And so if they sit there, we've eliminated possibilities. Now, knowing when and what to rotate is where the things get a little bit tricky. You don't want to rotate too early because if you rotate too early, you already had main tasks in your list. So why wouldn't you just do the ones that were already there, right? You have a higher chance of it coming back with a lower value if you have ones already there that you could have done. So you have to wait for the main tasks to kind of go away. Now, as a high-level player, it's a little tricky because sometimes you can just be hit back to back with just 2,000 point tasks, which is, oh, okay, that's great and all, but we could be getting better if we would have rotated something in sooner. So we got to be aware of that. Now, the next one below is on a normal week, this would be a 1,600 Paris. This is a non-premium flight, so it can be really done at any time, but it will cost, cash. So it's non-premium, it can only be worth up to 2,400 points. That being said, it's not really on my high list of rotatable options at the moment, but it is a rotatable option. Then we have a Epic project for 2,400, which would be 1,200 on a normal week. That being said, this is a rotatable option, but it's still pretty low, from our average. So that will likely sit for some time. Now we have a coins task for 1,200 on a normal week. This one is something that pretty much is almost always in your list. So what you have to do is you have to look at the opportunities. If I clear a task that is pretty much always there, and I take a significantly low amount of points to do that task, if I'm reaching down that far on my list to grab a task that is 600 below my average, my average goal, I have to make up for those points. So I better have a damn good reason for doing a task that's so low. When that task offers little to no promise in getting something better, there's really no need to reach down that far for that task. So when you look at it, if we were in that predicament, we have an epic task that is equal in value, and the epic task at least can be worth up to 2,400, right? But the epic task can also stay away for longer periods of time, whereas the coins, it can come back. It usually comes back within 2 to 6 rotations. So the coins really doesn't bring in any better opportunity. In fact, about the only time you would do this as a high level player is near the end if it was your highest task. So just be aware of that. A lot of people do that task because it's easy. It's quick and it's easy, and it's not a good task to do as a high level player especially. Okay, so now we have a premium upgrade Green Valley. Now this one I could see actually doing at some point, maybe near midway of the contest. Because it is a premium task, if it sits there, you can't get one that comes in for 3,000 points or 6,000 on a double. So it being there is blocking that from occurring. Now that being said, in terms of opportunity, this is where we would look at value difference and say, okay, Epic is 400 points higher than the Green Valley, right? But it only opens up the possibility of a 2,400 task at best. So that's 6,000 or 600 less than a 3,000 point upgrade. So the value difference really, it equals itself out once you look at the fact that that task can only be worth up to a certain point. Whereas if we were to take 400 points less now and do the Green Valley, if it comes back worth 6,000 points, then we've made up for that points difference that we lost. See what I'm saying? Okay, Monster is at 2,000 points. This one is almost always in the list. It does not make sense to open up this doorway when it can only be worth up to 2,500 points, and it is a pain in the ass because it's a hit and miss, right? So it can be here 1 minute, gone the next, and you could wait several days for it to show back up again. Opening up that can of worms when it's already of a low value, hell no. So that one you just cross off. Now the design challenge is similar. Now it's worth a significantly lower amount of points. On a normal week, this would be 800. So this one will likely not get touched either because of the fact that you can only do it during a design challenge. That makes it annoying. Therefore, let's say I do it and it comes back. I can't do it again. So it opens up a possibility of it coming in worth a higher value and blocking things up. No reason for that. So that one's no touch. Same goes for the residential, except for at least this one you can do whenever. But they're of pretty low value, so they likely won't be touched either. The rolls here are worth a significantly low amount of points. Now as a high level player, I don't see needing to reach down for a 700 point task on a normal week. That being said, sometimes what's in your list can give you an idea of what to prep, right? So usually as a low level player, you would see this and you would start to prep rolls. But as a high level player, you do the opposite. If I had rolls prepped and I know I'm not going to do the task, why would I leave them there? Doesn't make sense, right? I can eliminate that and move to my next highest or next most logical item in that shop. So probably cake, that's usually a good one to do, or coffee. Yogurts as well, but you got to be careful. You don't want to fill your shop, with an item that takes 3 hours. Because even if you run tokens, it could take 3-4 tokens just to get through one full shop. That being said, let's get started on the first choice. The first choice would be the work hard upgrade, right? And that is for 6,000 points. That is the obvious choice. All right. Then I get a 2,600 Neo-Simoleons. Well, we know I'm not going to do that, right? It's a non-premium. It's too low. I've got better options. So what's my next highest is the electrical, which I had done. So I was able to get that done right away. Okay. So then I get a war deliveries for 5,000. Now we do war. We start war 12 hours before the contest, so we were already ready to go. Very important that you are in a club that is doing things on a schedule so you can plan for this. Okay, so then I get a 4,000 upgrade London building. Now I am faced with two options. Well, one option really. I can either do the London or I can do the VU. So, upgrade London has the possibility of being worth 6,000, and Launch VU has the possibility of being worth 6,000. Upgrade London just came in. Okay, I've already been working this one doorway for a couple of tasks now. I want to see how VU is going to treat me this round. So I went ahead and I did the VU. Okay, I get a 3,200 on keys. Now, that's not bad, but that task is almost always in your list, so it doesn't open very good opportunity, right? So I'm looking for something with high value and good op. Looking at this, we have a Upgrade London for 4,000, and we have a Earn Lime Simoleons. So it comes down to one of the two. Why would I take 200 points lower to have a little bit less opportunity? I know that the Upgrade London can be worth up to 6,000, so I'm going to take the extra 200 points with the better opportunity. Now I get Export HQ, 7 rows of Export HQ. Now here's the tricky thing, okay? When you do these, you have to open up your regionals. Now what some people will do is they'll go to one regional map, they'll do 3 rows, they'll go to another regional map, do 3 rows, they'll go to another regional map and do the remaining rows, the 1 row. Now they've opened up 3 regional HQs to do 1 task. This is extremely problematic because if you get this task again and all of your regional HQs were opened up on the first day, you basically started a timer for yourself that if you don't finish every single task by the time 24 hours hits, when those regional HQs close, you have the possibility of it coming back and you not being able to do that task. So what you should do is open up 1 regional HQ and just pay the cash. Now, which one though? That is also important because we have a limestone here already. We don't want to burn through our limestone rows when we need those to earn our currency. So we need to pick something else. Now, you should pick the one that you feel you have the lower amount of regional items for, right? So let's say that you have the higher amount of regional items for. So let's say you have a ton of fish sushi things or whatever, and you get a fins task, right? You're able to sell those to earn coin. So you should use this regional map for the shipments, right? Because you have things that you can sell for currency. Whereas maybe on your sunny map, you don't have hardly any items to sell for those items, right? So you're going to need those regional HQ rows for the coins. So try to pick the one that you have the most regional items for. That way you can use it for the rows. Now, ideally, you want to try to prep the best that you can for your regionals. You know, you want to make sure that you have quite a few regional items for epics, for shipments, for flights, for all of it. You know, you're going to need them. One of the biggest setbacks for high-level players is regional items. Okay, so after doing this, the first couple rows, you pay the 10 cash, you get the second, rows done, so that would be 6. Then you could pay 20 cash, so about 30 cash, you get the assignment done. All right, got that done. Now we've got a cheese assignment. So I'm going to go ahead, put this on a token, and get it done. Now I get a textiles task. Now, textiles is worth 40 points lower than the lime coins, right? So we went ahead and we did the lime coins. This is where I'm missing a screenshot. So I had to go over to my limestone map, and I was able to do some of the HQ rows and sell a couple of items. Ideally, you want to try to do the rows as quickly as possible and do those first before selling the items, right? So what some people will do is they'll open up the regional HQ, they'll do what they can, and then they'll sell the remaining items. Try to hold your items for as long as possible, because if you get to a point where, let's say you only did 2 rows and then you sold all your items, and you get that task again, you have a closed HQ, and now you have no items to fall back on. So you really want to hold those items for shipments, for epics and things like. Try not to donate them if possible. Ideally, you want to hold on to them as long as you can, right? So just being very, very careful what you're selling them for and all that. Now I get a VU task for 6,000 points, which I obviously did. Okay, now I get the limestone again. We're 10 tasks in, and I've already had limestone twice now. So at this point, I was able to go back and get those HQ rows. I had to keep paying the cash for those. Obviously not too far, because I'm not going to pay no 80 cash or whatever. Then I had to start hunting global for things like string and selling those, because I didn't want to sell all of my really high items like my robes and things like that. Also making sure that you have your regional shop should have 11 items ready for pickup in your shop, right? Because you don't want to end up with like a robe assignment and then have a situation where you've got like 30 hours worth of production you got to try to speed up. So I was able to get that done, and now I get a fish regional factory item, or whatever, factory task. Now this one is kind of a pain in the butt. I don't like these because you have to be there every 6 minutes to pick up the stupid items. You only have one factory for your regionals, right? So it's just an annoying hour. There's no way to speed it up to not take as long as it's going to take, not unless you want to pay an obscene amount of cash, which is stupid. So basically this is already this is one of those things where it's like, okay, we got to get this done. Now at this point we have textiles being prepped, right? So you have to know when to lay things down in your factories and when not to. I know that back when I did the VU, when I got the textiles, I had that lime task, which I knew was going to take me at least probably about an hour to get all the items and things like that. Now, the odds of me getting a factory task that is going to be higher than the textiles and not be able to just wait an hour for the text is slim to none. I'm not none, but slim. So that being said, with that coupled with the fact that I do have this stupid fish assignment now, it was a good call to go ahead and just prep the damn textiles. Now, had it been something like feed or electrical, that it requires much more downtime. What you don't want to have happen is a situation where you were busy for 3 hours and you never even bothered to start the textiles. So try to think ahead. How long is this task going to take you? And if you see it taking at least half of the production time of what you're trying to lay down, then you have a pretty good idea that you might as well just prep it, right? I would not have laid down all my factories of, with electrical or whatever though, because that's too long. I wouldn't want to tie them up quite that much just yet. That being said, I went ahead and I did the fish assignment, giving you guys kind of a refresh on what's on the list here. Okay, now at this point I get chairs. Now, chairs is significantly less than text, but I've got a ways for the textiles. I've got 12 tasks done, and I do need to speed things up a little bit. So, that being said, what we're looking at for right now is we're looking at all the tasks in the list. The Paris is non-premium, right? And if you compare chairs to Paris, it's an 80 points difference for a non-premium task. So, chairs is going to be my next play, right? If I can rotate in the chairs before the text, I can potentially open up some good doorways here to get some things done. You don't want to be idle for too long because of downtime, right? If you get hit back to back with downtime, like feed or electrical or whatever, you could end up in a situation where you're scrambling to try to finish because you have active wartime. But you don't want to go so fast to the point where you're cutting corners and taking too low of tasks just because you don't want to be idle for an hour, right? So you got to know when to kind of proceed and when to be idle. Right now, it was not a significant amount of points drop for me to just sit there and be idle, right? So I went ahead and did the chairs, and I got feed for 3,500. Now at this point, this is 200 and something less than the textiles and takes, twice as long. I already had the textiles prepping, so I was able to go ahead and just wait and get those done, rather than try to rotate in a non-premium Paris. There was really no reason to rotate in a non-premium just yet, especially by the time I had the chairs done, it was damn near time for the textiles. Okay, so now I get a VU assignment. Now at this point I have to decide, do I want to tie my factories up just yet with feed, or do I want to quickly get this VU done and just double check to make sure that I don't get hit with maybe like a plastic task or something. So at this point I get an upgrade, so okay, let's kind of see. I'm getting more production tasks here. So laying down feed is a good idea, right? That being said, though, you also have to make sure that you are, if you're a low-level player and watching this, that you guys are a little bit different. You would lay down the second round. So see how it has 44? You would lay down probably like 5. Then wait for those 5 to be done so you guys can actually proceed on. Now me, I was able to leave 16 slots open, right? I just left 15, but leaving 15 slots open. That way, if you do get like a metal task, I can still do metal and wood, and probably even plastic if I calculated it. So yes, prepping feed is a good idea. Now I get the cake done here on a gold token, and I have an Omega upgrade, which I laid down a construction zone for Omega, so it only costs 1 Omega item. Do not, or well, I guess I shouldn't say do not. Be careful, depending on how many Omega items you have, and if you're somebody who built Omega anyways, and you have like an obscene amount of Omega storage and items, you guys know what it's going to cost you. I don't build Omega. I don't like Omega, so I try to do it for as cheap as possible. Just one item, lay down a construction zone, lay down another one item, be done with it. Okay, so did that, and I got minerals. Now, at this point, feed is significantly higher than minerals, right? So at this point, you have to decide if you're going to just sit there and be idle, or if you're going to try to rotate in some other doorways. Now, this is kind of what I was trying to talk to my training group about this morning, knowing when to open up all these other doorways. The Epic is significantly, less, and it's non-premium. Coins doesn't open up a very good opportunity. So the only rotatable options I'm seeing here that are going to do me good for the future is going to be the Green Valley and the Paris. Paris is 1,200 higher than Green Valley, so I do need to bank in on those extra points right now. So I'm going to go ahead and bank in on the Paris points, which I did, and I get a 4,800 Old Town building. Now this one's good to do because this one can be worth up to 3,600 on a normal week. So what, 7,200? Getting this one done is essential. So I'm able to do that, and I get the Omega for 6,000. I'm able to do that really quick because I only do the one item. And at this point, I get sugar for 4,500. Now, it's 1,000 higher than the feed, but it takes a significantly lower amount of time. I already have feed prepping. It's almost done at this point, or I don't know. I know it's getting close. Um, Junking that much feed would be kind of problematic, right? So now I've got 3 factory productions in my list. I have a choice. I can either sit here and be idle, or I can take this out. This is like my one opportunity to rotate in that low upgrade. You know, getting this doorway opened up and potentially being able to do more tasks during this downtime could be really essential, you know, and opening up that 6,000 point possibility is essential. So I get a 4,900 cactus task. Now at this point, I'm still waiting on, you know, the feed and stuff. So it's good. I'm going to be busy. I've got a, you know, 4,900 point task here, which is making up for some of the lost points I had to take rotating in that lower Green Valley. Now I get a 6,000 Omega again, which again, boosting me up for some of those lost points. Excellent. Get that done rather quickly. Okay, now I get a Wave Simoleons task. This is like, what, my 4th regional currency task. They're killing me here on cash and stuff. So again, now I've got Wave open. I've got the one open that I had to open up for the regional HQ. I've got Limestone open, and I've got Cactus open. Okay, so I've got 1 left. Now I got to be careful here because I still have 33 tasks remaining, and I only have 1 map that I can open up regional shipments on. So 4 of them are going to be closed down in the 24 hours. That means that if I have 2 options. I either try to clear every single task plus tickets before that 24-hour timer runs out, or I leave 1 map open so that if I get a regional HQ task, you know, the shipment one, I can actually do it. So that being said, I was able to go ahead and get the waves done. I get a glass task for 4,800. Now this is where things got a little bit ugly. Okay, hang on a second. Wait a minute here. No, I did feed between the 2. I'm missing a screenshot. Sorry, you guys. Okay, so I was able to do the feed, and I got glass. That's what happened. I was wondering what happened here. Okay, now this is where things got ugly. So it was pretty sure that it was nighttime during this time, or getting close to, and I had screwed up, and I had placed down the sugar instead of the glass, but I had only done it for 5. And when I looked, it was 60 glass, and I'm like, son of a bitch. So now I have to wait for, I have a couple options here. I can either just fill it all with sugar and say screw it and do sugar, or I can fill it with glass, wait for the sugar to be done, and fill the remaining glass. Because I knew that it was going to be that much downtime anyways, and it was significantly higher, and sugar has a higher reoccurrence rate, I decided to just say screw it, and I filled it with glass, and I proceeded on doing what I had to do, which was the waves task. Then I get the old town building, which I do. Now I get export 4 rows. Now here's the tricky thing. Most of my regional shipments are near like the 6th or 9th row, so it's like 30, well, it's like 20 or 40 cash for these. I have a choice. I can either pay the 20 cash and try to get them done on the regional HQs that I already have open, or I can go and open up that last map. I'm not going to open up that last map with this many tasks still remaining, and with the fact that I've been getting so many regional tasks, it's a pretty good chance that they keep hitting me with them. So it's actually more beneficial for me to just say screw it and pay the extra cash for the ones that I have open than it is to open up my last map and not be able to do my task later on if I get one. So I paid the cash. I got a Tokyo flight. Well, cha-ching, that means more cash. I get the Tokyo flight done. Now I get a London flight. Cha-ching. Yeah, they're really killing me here. Then I get a Paris building. Upgrade Paris for 6,000. That was at least a nice break. Okay. Now I get a VU for 4,000. Right now I still have so long before I can even think of getting any of these factories cleared up. The lower half of my list is pretty trashy. The VU holds a 2K average and is one of my premiums, so I'm going to go ahead and just do that. Get it done, get it out of the way. I get a metals task. That's when I realize, okay, now I'm getting hit with, now I've got 4 factory tasks. I've got, I believe it was like 14 hours, yeah, about 14 hours or so left of war. So it kind of sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. So I just started the glass because I knew that that was my next task. There was no way I was picking anything else. And I didn't want to accidentally, you know, be scrolling and collect one. It gives you a day and a half, well, day and 5 hours to do it. So I just started it and decided to wait for the glass. Get the glass done, and I get a 4,000 point VU. Now at this point, I just had the 4,000 point VU, right? So it was the middle of the night. It was like 2 a.m. or so when I was able to wake up and clear the glass out or whatever, if I remember right. So I decided, you know what? I've got a couple hours left to sleep. I'm going to pick these up, lay down all this sugar, and then I can proceed on in the morning when I collect the sugar. I have not collected the sugar yet. Okay, so I had about 58 minutes or so left on it when I was adding in these screenshots, and now I'm going to go and get that done. We've got a couple hours left on our war, so right now I have to decide if I want to take, you know, 500 points less to just get metal done rapidly fast, or if I want to do the VU, or if I want to prep minerals first. Okay, so what would be the right choice here? The right choice would be to pick up the sugar and see what comes in first, evaluate my options, and then proceed with VU if nothing better comes in. There's no sense whatsoever in me taking 500 points less to do metal right now when that takes 1 minute, right? So getting the VU that I have, the repairs that I have sitting there done, getting that done. I do have about 5 tasks left before I start streaks. So here's part of the problem here. In the streaks, if you fail one assignment, you lose that streak. Our war ends in a couple of hours. If I open up that streak and I can't complete it within 24 hours, I fail. If I open up that streak and I get a war assignment I can't do, that's a problem because we have a 12-hour downtime and we have a 12-hour prep time. So all it's going to take is one factory task or one war task, and I fail that streak. That being said, I have quite a bit of downtime ahead of me, about 24 hours worth of downtime ahead of me, but I still have 5 tasks remaining. So I'm going to go ahead and do these 5 tasks or see what I got going on here, and then evaluate if and how much time is left and if I want to proceed. If it's, let's say, 10 hours left until active war starts, then I'm okay. I can go ahead and start the streaks because I'll still have plenty of time. But if I'm able to burn through these 5 tasks right now, I don't want to open up the possibility of failing that streak, right? So hopefully I gave you guys some decent tips. A lot of the problem is there's not videos out there where people are showing their gameplay, showing how they're doing things behind the scenes. So even if you do see how people are choosing their tasks, it really doesn't explain how they're moving so quickly or what they're doing to get them done, or all of the kind of behind the scenes thought process that goes into like the regional HQs and things like that I've discussed. So like I said, I try to be thorough. I try to give you guys the best advice possible. So make sure that if you're having any kind of trouble whatsoever, or if you have any questions, that you leave it in the comments section below. I try to do my best to answer people's questions and make sure that you guys have a pretty good idea of what it is that you're doing. Any downtime that you guys do have, try to build back up your inventory. You know, making sure that you're always on top of your VU, making sure that you have like the you know, at least 2 storage, 2 dozer for those regional HQs just in case. If you want to play high level comm, you got to be on top of it. You know, you really do. And you got to be quick, because if you're not quick and you get hit with downtime, you end up screwing yourself. All right, you guys, good luck. And I will be labeling this one part 1. When I finish, it'll be labeled part 2. I'm just going to hopefully do this one in 2 videos.